Hi, this is Antara from Afternoon Calm, and today will be a sort of a chatty video where I'll be showing you how I set up my bullet journal for a month, and we'll be talking about some things related to bullet journaling. So, if you like long, rambly sort of videos, then this one is for you. Do grab your drink and sit down while I yap. So, yeah, I'm posting this video after a long gap. That is because I fell off my bullet journal. Yes, you heard it right. I made this spread about February setup, and after that, the month went in such a way that I didn't even come back to the journal again, and it's April now. What happened was when February started, I got sick and I wasn't doing much. So my bullet journal was neglected because I had nothing much to do than just stay in bed and cough. And after that, I went on a trip with my family and I didn't come back to catch up in my journal. So, yeah, I sort of fell off the wagon since I was overthinking about what to do now that I am off this habit of mine. I went to the trusted source, Reddit, and I found some posts to read. So if you want to come along and read with me, let's go. Maybe we can find something motivating, inspiring to help us get back on track, or maybe not. Who knows? Alright, so this post is quite interesting. So, in this post, the author or the original poster said that they were quitting their bullet journal because they found it intense or difficult to keep up with. So, what do you think? Does this happen with you? I will say that, yeah, if you make some spreads that are difficult to write again and again, or there is some duplication of information at different places, then it does get a bit difficult to keep up with. And also because your routine changes or your life changes. So that is what I can think of. Let's see what other people have to say about this. So there's this person who replied. Their name is Rattlesnake D, and they said, "You've got to keep it simple. You have to let go of whatever expectation you have on what right looks like. If you want your pages to look a certain way, if you want your future log to drive certain things, if you want the potential of bullet journal to be more than what you can give, you're going to lose. Let go of your expectations. Just open it every day. Forget how it's supposed to look, how good your handwriting is, if there are scribbles, if you forget open tasks or finish them, don't log it. Just open it and write. If used this way, it is supposed to be incredibly freeing and cleansing from the should and ought that plagues most planners. You cannot touch it for 6 months, and when you open it, the first thing you see is the next blank page ready for you to write today's date and dump your thoughts into it. Judgment free. So just open it, write today's date, and see what happens. Forget what should happen, just be open to whatever you're ready to give that day. That's basic BuJo, your mind experiencing itself every day. So, yeah, I really liked this write up. They're quite write about it, because when you open to a new page, rather than logging back information that I have missed, say I have set up some pages for February, and now that I'm in April, I don't want to log back some information for memory keeping or such, because then I'll feel guilty, like I didn't use it, this is going to waste, something of that sort. So the best thing would be to just flip over to the new blank page and get on with it. Otherwise, you won't be able to move on. So I think whatever they said was right. It's just your mind experiencing itself every day. And yes, the expectation part of it, like we all want it to look certain way, to always be perfect, but it's not gonna be that way. Life changes, things happen. There are always things that would not go the way you want it to. So yeah, you should give yourself grace. And also, your notebook should show that too. The life's deviations and what you planned and what didn't happen. It's nice in its own way. Okay, so the next answer is from Chaos Calmed, and they write, I find that procrastination, okay, is the death of productivity. So the art helps people, but it does not help productivity. Time taken on formatting your BuJo and adding the aesthetics is time taken away from getting the next piece of work or task done. So is that no longer productivity or organizational tool that was the origins of the bullet journal method? So I do think that artsy BuJos need a new name, art therapy BuJo perhaps. There is no harm in separating productivity focused BuJo from art focused BuJo. It was perhaps the origins of the basic bullet journal Reddit. However, that has many times been inundated by artsy BuJo posts, often by people posting the same post on all the bullet journal threads. I know a few of those posts have been removed over the years from the basic bullet journal Reddit, so there is at least refuge there. I repeat, I see no issue with art in bullet journal. I just feel that it removes the productivity from the center of it. As such, I do think it needs a separation from term bullet journal. Art therapy journal is perhaps more appropriate. So this is the long-standing debate about artsy BuJo and the productivity BuJo, yes? Well, I think it depends on the person. If they want the separation between their art therapy part of the BuJo and the productivity part of the BuJo, if they want the separation, then it's fine. But if they don't want, that also should be fine. Because you know that many people, you've heard that they don't want to come back to their BuJos if they look plain and boring, because something in their mind tells them that they have to make it look a bit pretty so that they stick to it. So that is why most of them don't do minimalistic things and sort of include art therapy part into their system, so that they keep coming back to it to look and feel the texture of their collages or their drawings or sketching. And maybe there's a visual part of memory keeping that is involved in it. So when they flip through, like I have my old bullet journals, and what I did is when I flip through it, I see some of my doodles, my sketches, and all of a sudden, the memory comes up. Oh, yeah, I did that year, something of that sort. So, yeah, it becomes something that can be archived and looked back at, sort of art therapy. But it at that time when I used that journal in that year, it was a BuJo. Yeah, but it involved doodles and sketches. I mean, that's how I am. I'm sort of visual person. So I can't say that you should necessarily keep the artsy part separate from the productivity part. But yeah, it also helps that you keep a different notebook for just journaling, like just writing. It's filled with writing, a book that you can just fill up with writing, and a separate book that you can just draw. Yeah, keeping it separate is also helpful at times, I think. Like, as humans, we crave a bit of organization. Maybe that aspect can be included. But yeah, but I kind of agree with their answer. Okay, we'll move on to the next one. So the next answer is by Kindly Trash Bag. Okay, the OG method was great once you got the hang of it. It's just that so many people online make a show of their journals with all the layouts and decoration that it makes it intimidating. I consider journals and planners separate. Journals, I used to write down thoughts in long form like a diary, put in photos or other memorabilia stuff. Okay, it's basically a log of my life with my own commentary. Planners are for the day to day, to do lists, grocery lists, tasks, etc. May sometimes have notes about thoughts and my life, but are usually short. For journaling, I use a blank notebook. For planners, I use a calendar style notebook just so I don't have to think of a layout. This is interesting as well. So I keep my journal separate as well, because I have noticed sort of a person who likes to write and write a lot, because when I have things in my mind, they come as a flow and I start writing it down. And bullet journal is like, the name says it. You make a bullet and write it in shorthand. So yeah, I think having a separated journal for reflections and thought dumping is good. And yeah, for memory keeping, like, it's personal. I think some people like to keep memories, other people think that having digital photographs and videos is enough. So it all comes down to what kind of person you are. So yeah, that makes sense. Like, she said she uses a blank notebook for journaling, and for planners she uses calendar style notebook. And that is right as well, because when you start bullet journaling, sometimes when you're new, you don't know, okay, what layout should I use for this, what kind of sections should I make, what would look good in my journal, or what kind of layout would I be okay to work out with. So when you're a beginner, that is something difficult to figure out. So having a calendar style notebook and having a pre-made layout to jump in and just do bullet journaling in a regular planner, that also works for certain people who find that layout making is time consuming and that they overthink their layouts. So yeah, that's also something important. The next answer is by TLCD96, and they write, it is a malleable method. If it's complicated, it's because people make it that way. For example, the elaborate BuJos with stickers and watercolor painted calendars are pretty cool looking sometimes, but they are not always practical, and I think they can give people the wrong idea of how things should be. Also, I think BuJo falls close to the category of self-help, and I hate to say it, but something about the genre attracts a lot of neurosis. People get all perfectionist and start to panic if they deviate from a rule that they made up in their own heads, or if they make a little spelling error, that kind of mentality will not help anyone stick with it for too long. It's way too fraught with anxiety and stress. Yeah, their observation is very correct, because I have seen there are a lot of perfectionists in the bullet journaling community, and if something goes wrong, they're all like shouting out of their windows, "Oh my god, I made a mistake." Yeah, so that happens. A little spelling error, a little ink spill, and like, "Oh my god, the biggest mistake of my life." It is. It is full of anxiety and stress for certain people. But I think I've been journaling for quite some time and I have no issues with it. Like, there are pages that are blank, there are pages that look like, you wouldn't want to see them. But yeah, that happens and that's life. And I think those who are perfectionists should definitely keep a bullet journal to get some reality thrown back at them. Okay, so the next one is, I don't know who is this by, and they write, "It's only complicated if you make it that way. The sensible response would be to make it simpler rather than give up entirely. It's not like it's entirely within your control. Part of the issue is the culture of making them beautiful." The decorative part. That's fine if people want to do that, but it's by definition over and above functionality and creates a lot of pressure. It increases the likelihood of burnout and giving up because it feeds an escalating culture of all or nothing thinking, where if you have a bullet journal, it has to be increasingly elaborate and non functional. The barrier for participation in that kind of practice is far higher, and it's by definition a less flexible and responsive method. So there's more likelihood that you'll have to stop when that energy exertion becomes less sustainable. As a system design, it's what you do if you wanted to make giving up more likely necessary. Yeah, so here also they talk about the culture of making their people wanting to make their bullet journals beautiful, which is creating pressure and leads to form over functionality. So yeah, they're not wrong, because when people come into the community, most of them see the decorative elements and then they start doing it, and that is not the main aspect. uh, most of us come in the community to get our lives organized and a bit more, have a feeling of I have my shit together sort of a feeling. So yeah, but most of the people who get into bullet journaling come for the wrong reasons. They think it's to make art or make beautiful things. And the other thing that is difficult is the performance aspect of it. Like, I haven't shown my planner in the YouTube videos yet, but my planner is pretty beautiful and I keep it well maintained. But since it's not part of the performance, like it's not available for the YouTube audience to see, I don't feel any pressure when I work with it, when I decorate it or write my plans in it. I don't feel any pressure. But when I do bullet journaling, it sort of is in the back of my mind that I want it to look pretty, at least for the audience. Yeah, the performance part of it makes it a bit, the culture of making it beautiful, yes, it imposes that. But otherwise, if you're not posting somewhere, if you're not making it for an audience, you won't have that in the back of your mind. That's the case with my other notebooks, the ones that I don't show. I don't feel any pressure with them. I do whatever I want. There are scribbles, there are small scratch marks, everything is in there. So you don't have to look at my journal and think, oh, she only makes pretty things. No, I make some of the worst things, yeah, imaginable. So don't think it like that. Okay, we'll move on to next one. So this one is by Nerdy Blackbird. I used to go all out and create elaborate layouts and add cutesy things to it. I used to really enjoy the creative side of it. I used to set up layouts at night to relax. I relate to that, yes. Creating layouts to relax is best thing ever. Mine used to be very much an art journal with some space for planning. I got sick in 2022 and haven't ever really bounced back to my normal self. I don't have as much energy as I used to, and my ADHD kicked into high gear with my illness. I ended up realizing that designing layouts and doing the art was keeping me from using my journal. I had almost made it a requirement or something. Now I do a layout if I feel like it. I'll doodle if I feel like it. But for the most part, it's just filled with boring black ink, pencil, and maybe a highlight here and there. Yeah, so I relate with this. The line where she says she ended up realizing that designing layouts and doing the art was keeping her from using her journal. This does happen and happens with a lot of people because they are forcing themselves to make art on every page, to make doodles on every page, to make every page look pretty. It's not perfectionism, it's a sort of a boundary issue, is what I think as. Because my other notebook, like my journal, which is just for writing, I do make collages there too, and they're ugly. Yeah, but since there's a boundary that I have kept a boundary with myself, like me and myself have decided that we won't do decorative things in that journal, so that journal looks like crap. So it's a boundary issue. You have to set some boundaries with your journals too. Like this journal is for this only, and I will do these kind of things when I have time. Otherwise, I won't force myself to do art and creative spreads on every page or so. You have to sort of make rules and boundaries for yourself so that it doesn't get high maintenance for yourself. Yeah. Okay, so the next one is by Sunny Climb, and this is a long one. I love the aesthetic stuff and extra spreads, but I've learned that they are just not in my capacity in every season in my life. So I also have a way of doing my journal that is completely bare essentials if need be, and on top of that I've built in ways to skip days, weeks, months without guilt or without breaking what I've done prior, so that it truly is only something I do when it is helpful. After years of practice, the most important thing I've learned is that I will never be more than 70% consistent at the highest, and some years it goes a lot lower, and that I need to design for that, not for my perfectionism. It does not have to be all or nothing. A bare bones month is still better than a blank page to me in terms of help in organizing. I like the bells and whistles, but the only value they add is fun. And if they're not fun to do on a particular day, I won't do them. The point of journaling for me isn't about how it looks to other people or how consistent it is or in filling as many pages as much as possible. No, it's in spending time with my own thoughts to achieve clarity and focus throughout the day and to help me process my experiences. Just like how in a romantic relationship, some dates are fancier than others, in my relationship with myself, some time I spend reflecting is more plain or more decorated than others. Being okay with that, embracing the pivot, and giving myself permission to skip it on days where it's more frustrating than helpful have improved my practice all around. It also changed my way of thinking that ironically allowed me to experiment a lot more when I'm interested in more aesthetic layouts. It turns out you have a lot more creative freedom when you don't feel like you're forcing it. There's a lot of reasons it's okay to not do the aesthetic stuff at all if you don't want to, but I have loved giving myself permission to do things I actually have no intention or promise of maintaining. I've grown to love the inconsistency in my own way. Wow. Now that's the perfect way to end, right? She said it all of it. All of it that we discussed, she said it. It's the perfect answer. It's written by Sunny Climb. Yeah, and she said it rightly. Yeah, you don't have to do everything all the time. Some days you need the bells and whistles, and other days plain boring black ink. Be inconsistent, be consistent, do whatever you want to do, and according to your own life and thoughts. Some days fancy, some days normal, plain and boring. Yeah, she got it right. Yeah, so that was it. Me reading some of the Reddit posts and answers by some of the Redditors, and I do think I have found inspiration and motivation to get back to my journal, and we'll see how it goes from here. But let me know how you find this sort of chatty video of me discussing things off internet, and also let me know down in the comments something else you'd want me to discuss. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again. Bye.